My name is Jessica Harris. I'm currently a comp sup and a VFX supervisor at Scanline VFX up in Vancouver. I actually was a music major in college, and I was in the process of sort of transitioning from a performance-based concentration into doing theory and technology. And I was thinking about maybe scoring for film or doing Foley work. And I saw a fellow student who she was doing sound work for some animations that she did. And I thought the computer animation looked really cool. So I started doing that. And then when I graduated, I decided I wanted to sort of pursue that instead of the music. So I eventually got into the data wrangling department as a tape operator and started writing new backup code for them. And when I was in there, I also got to show off some of my 3D modeling techniques and kind of went from there. Just sort of finally started to move up and get a position as a technical director, and then became the full-time artist. And then when I got into digital domain, I finally worked with my first and only female supervisor, a woman named Sonia Bouchard, who was fantastic, probably one of the smartest women I've ever worked with, or actually smartest artist, talented, and that was really fantastic because she came from a totally different side of things than the guys. She was much more interested in teaching and making sure you really understood what was going on and really invested in the growth of the artists under her. And that was very different from a lot of the men that I was working with and surrounded by. I mostly do Compositing Supervisor, and what I mostly do on that is I do everything from interviewing people, doing bids on work to come into it, scheduling, doing template setups, trying to figure out incoming show specs and then get that into our pipeline and to set up show formats and grain and anything having to do with that. And then also talking with other departments about methodology, what's going to get done in 2D versus 3D. Currently, I'm doing a little bit of a VFX souping on a smaller show. So now I'm sort of doing the 2D side of things as well as the 3D side of things and trying to get everybody on board and picking a direction to go with and dealing with clients. Probably one of the most challenging points, and it's happened once or twice, where I was getting told misinformation about why I wasn't getting moved up or getting the position I wanted to go in that turned out not to be true at all. And, you know, luckily there's always been somebody that, I've been vocal about it when it's happened and demanded answers. I didn't just accept it and meekly go away. It was, okay, you're telling me this one thing, where's the proof, where's the backup? This is not what my reviews are saying, this is not what other people are saying, and calling them out on it. And luckily there were enough, people in positions above me that believed in, my abilities and that were willing to stand up and say, this is not right, this was not what we said, this is not what should be happening. And you kind of always have to keep in mind that for every, bad person you run into, there's like 10 people that are really rooting for you and helping you out and are really good people. How you present yourself and what you think you're presenting yourself as is not necessarily how people see you. So you could think you're being calm and reasonable, but someone's kind of viewing you as, no, you're being kind of aggressive and stubborn. And sometimes you just have to step back and really understand that just because you're used to interacting a certain way doesn't mean everyone else is used to interacting that way as well. Yeah, there's definitely been times where I'm like, yeah, that was a bad idea. I'm not sure why I did that. What I've definitely learned is if you need help, ask for it. There's nothing wrong with changing direction if something's not working, because you will get to a point in time where you no longer have that option of going back. So I've definitely learned that I should pay a little bit more attention of what is going on around me. Like just because the little thing that you're doing is going well, it doesn't mean you should ignore what's going on in other areas. And if you see something not working or something that's going to impact you later, speak up and do it in a respectful, proper way. Part of it is, I'm a lot more involved in recruiting now, especially in a supervising position. So I always try to be on the lookout for anybody's resumes that come through that aren't maybe just the typical people that apply. Anytime in a meeting, I try to make sure that no one's overlooked. So when they start to talk about artists getting moved up into leadership positions, it's not just the people that they go out and have a beer with after work. It's, what artists were on the team, and I'll sit back and look through my notes and look through the credits and say like, okay, what about this person? They've been on the, been here for a couple of years and everyone seems to really like them. Why are we not talking about them? And if you don't think they're ready for a leadership role, why not? And what can we do to help them move into that role? People are actually listening now. Everything that's getting said today it's been going on for decades. And at least now I feel that there is an outlet for young men and women who are getting taken advantage of to say something, and people aren't going to dismiss them anymore. There are a lot more people now that are willing to say, yeah, you know what, I have seen this. And I thought it was an isolated incident, and it isn't. And I think just having this conversation and dialogue is making things so much easier on everybody. People are a lot more aware of what's going on. They're paying more attention to how their actions and the actions of others are impacting people around them. And up to this point, it was a pretty much, nope, this is how the industry is, and just deal with it. And if you can't deal with it, then maybe you shouldn't be in this industry. They weren't interested in change, and I think now they are.